want to talk about the album Dynasty by Kiss. I know this has always been a divisive album because on the one hand it has more of a commercial sound than the previous albums, but on the other hand I've always thought the songwriting was very good. So I'm going to be talking about all of that in this video. Out of all the four members, there's one person I believe was the star of this album, and I'll get to that later in this video. Dynasty is the seventh studio album by Kiss, released on May 23rd, 1979 through Casablanca Records. The album is celebrating 45 years. The album was produced by Vinny Pochia and recorded in January, February 1979 at Electric Lady and Record Plant Studios in New York City. I remember this album when it came out. I was very young. I was only 8 years old, but I think my older brother had this on vinyl because I remember the album cover very well. I think I even tried to do the makeup for Halloween that year. But I didn't really get into the band Kiss until I was older, around 18 years old. It would be 10 years after that. I remember buying the album Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits, and then going to the store after that and buying a bunch of their older stuff. I remember buying Dynasty and putting in the CD and everything that sounded very familiar to me. I think it's for nostalgic reasons I like this album so much. Dynasty marked the return of Kiss, as the band had not released a studio album since Love Gun in 1977. Instead, they released their second live album, Alive 2, in 1977, and each member had recorded solo albums in 1978. So in other words, they released one live album and 4 solo albums in the span of 1 year, and I know they called it the return of Kiss, but it was the 70s. It was a different time, and bands churned out albums a lot faster back then. Before recording Dynasty, the Kiss members worked separately on various demos. Peter Criss submitted a demo with Dirty Livin. Ace Frehley contributed demos for songs like Hard Times and a cover of the Rolling Stones' 2000 Man. Gene Simmons wrote many demos, some with a band called Virgin. Paul Stanley wrote songs with Desmond Child, including I Was Made for Lovin You. The album cover is a collage of 4 individual photos, not a group picture. It was the penultimate Kiss album recorded by the original lineup before their tensions increased. Reception of the Kiss album's Dynasty was mixed, with varying reviews from different sources. The Collector's Guide to Heavy Metal gave the album a 4 out of 10 rating. Pitchfork rated the album 2 out of 10. And these reviews indicate the range of opinions on Dynasty, with some critics being more critical of the album's departure from that traditional hard rock sound and incorporating the disco and pop elements. Let's talk more about the songs. I'll start with a big hit, I Was Made for Lovin You, written by Paul Stanley and Desmond Child, and produced by Vinny Pochia. The song marked a departure from Kiss's traditional hard rock sound, incorporating elements of disco and pop. It was released as a single in May of 1979 with Hard Times as the B-side. It was a commercial success, becoming Kiss's second gold single in the US and Canada. It reached number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart in the US and topped the RPM National Singles Chart in Canada. The song also charted in several other countries. Some Kiss fans were critical of the disco influence, with Rolling Stone magazine's David Frick describing it as disco-infected. However, the song has become a staple of Kiss's live performances and has been covered by various artists. The music video was directed by John Goodhue and filmed at the Savannah Civic Center in Georgia in June of 1979. Features the band performing the song on the Dynasty stage set and has over 700 million views on YouTube. Then there's the song 2000 Man. The song was originally released by the Rolling Stones on their 1967 album, Their Satanic Majesty's Request. Ace Frehley's on vocals. The lyrics of 2000 Man tell the story of a man living in the year 2000, reflecting on the changes and advancements in society and technology. What's interesting is that the year 2000 is 24 years ago, but back in 1979 it was only 21 years in the future. The year 2000 seems so far away, actually. Back then we had dial-up internet, and anyway, let me move on. Dirty Livin was written by Peter Criss, Stan Pendridge, and Vinny Pochia. The only song on the Dynasty album where Peter Criss performs lead vocals and plays the drums. The rest of the album's drumming was handled by session drummer Anton Fig. Lyrics describe a life of addiction and despair, the singer expressing the need to escape his current situation and set himself free. The song features the hard rock sound typical of Kiss's early work, contrasting with the disco-influenced tracks on Dynasty like I Was Made for Lovin You. Here's some interesting trivia. The song was originally written by Criss and Penridge in 1972 during a time with the band Lips after leaving Chelsea. The song was later reworked for inclusion on Dynasty. In 2023, Peter Criss did a new version of Dirty Livin, and he posted it on his YouTube channel, and this version celebrates the song's origins and Criss's contributions to the Dynasty album. Then there's the song Charisma. It's the 5th track in the album and was written by Gene Simmons. He also provided lead vocals for this track. This was one of the harder rockers on the album. Charisma explores the concept of personal charm and magnetism, highlighting the captivating effect that certain individuals possess and attract to influence others. Then there was another Gene song I liked called X-Ray Eyes. The lyrics suggest a sense of clarity as symbolized by the metaphor of having X-ray vision. The protagonist of the song claims to see through lies and deceptions with a heightened sense of awareness and ability to see the truth in relationships or interactions. There was another song by Ace called Hard Times. He talks about his difficult experiences and challenges while growing up in New York City. The verses describe the harsh realities of city life, such as having to fight for acceptance, getting arrested for simply hanging out, and having to make the best of what was lacking. Ace Frehley sings about the hard times being in the past, but also how they made him stronger. Then there's a song, Sure Know Something. This one has lead vocals by Paul Stanley. Another one of their disco-sounding songs. The song is a typical love song, similar to I Was Made for Lovin You. The song was included on Kiss's 1997 compilation album, Greatest Kiss, and an unplugged version of Sure Know Something was also recorded by the band. Now, I was talking before who was the star of this album, and I say Ace Frehley is the star. Not only because Hard Times and 2000 Men, but also another song, Save Your Love, which ends the album. It's a great hard rocker, and the lyrics are pretty cool. It's a breakup song, has all that attitude. I really like it. The song has Paul Stanley on backing vocals during the chorus. And this album is also considered one of the most underrated and overlooked albums. It was criticized for having a disco influence, particularly because of the hit single, I Was Made for Lovin You, but the majority of the album does feature hard rock tracks. The album ranks highly for many Kiss fans. According to my research, some consider it the second best album after Hotter Than Hell. For me, it's in the top 5. I did a Kiss tier list not too long ago, and I'll link it at the end screen. Let me also say that this album is very singable with no weak tracks. So that is all. Check out my Kiss tier list I was talking about. Please like this video. Please comment. Let us know how would you rank this album. Do you like it, or do you think it's one of their worst albums? Please subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I do rock and metal reviews, rankings, and more. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.